Hello and welcome back to The Unbound. Today we are talking about a simple habit, a habit that can change the way you learn. The habit is called noticing. Noticing sounds like a small word, but it is a big skill. Most people go through their day with their eyes open but their mind closed. They see things, they hear things, but they do not really take them in. Think about your walk to work or your drive to the shop. Can you remember every car you passed? Can you remember every sign you read? Probably not. Your brain let most of it slide right past you. This is normal. Your brain cannot hold everything. But here is the problem. If you treat English the same way, you will forget almost everything you hear. You will watch a video, feel like you understood it, and then remember nothing the next day. This happens to millions of learners, not because they are lazy, not because they are not smart, but because they never learned how to notice. Let me give you a new way to think about this. Stop being only a listener. Start being a detective. A detective does not walk into a room and glance around. A detective stops. A detective looks closely. A detective asks questions. Why is this window open? Why is this cup still warm? A language detective does the same thing, but with words. Why did she say it this way and not another way? What is the small word doing in the middle of that sentence? Could I use this sentence in my own life? This kind of thinking takes only a few seconds. But those few seconds are where real learning happens. Here is a common mistake. Learners try to remember whole sentences, word for word. They repeat them like a parrot. But a parrot does not understand what it says. Instead, try this. When you hear a sentence, ask yourself, what is the reusable part? For example, imagine someone says, I wasn't planning on staying this long. Do not just remember that one sentence, pull out the frame. The frame is, I wasn't planning on. Now that frame is yours forever. I wasn't planning on spending so much. I wasn't planning on cooking tonight. I wasn't planning on saying yes. One sentence becomes 10 sentences. One sentence becomes a tool. This is the real goal of noticing. Not to collect words, but to collect tools. You do not need to notice everything. That would exhaust you in a single day. Instead, train your attention on 3 things. Number 1, reusable frames like the one we just discussed. Number 2, the quiet little words that shape the feeling of a sentence. Words like sort of, honestly, apparently, anyway, kind of, and in a way. Number 3, the difference between a direct sentence and a gentle one. Let's look at each one a little closer. Here are a few strong frames worth collecting. It took me a while to. I keep forgetting to. There's no point in. I'd rather not. It wouldn't hurt to. Once you notice a frame like this, write it down. Just the frame, not the whole sentence. Then build 3 new sentences with it, using your own life. It took me a while to trust him. It took me a while to understand the lesson. It took me a while to get used to the new schedule. See how one small frame becomes real, personal, usable English? That is the power of noticing frames. Now let's talk about small words. This part surprises a lot of learners. Big vocabulary feels impressive. But small words carry the real personality of a sentence. Listen to the difference. I don't like it. I don't really like it, to be honest. The second sentence feels softer, more human, more natural. Here's another pair. You're late. You're kind of late, actually. Same information, completely different feeling. Words like honestly, kind of, actually, apparently, and to be fair are small, but they carry emotion, softness, and personality. When you watch a video, pick just one small word. Follow it through the whole video. Notice every place it appears. Do this for a week, and that word will start slipping into your own speech without effort. The third area of noticing is tone. Grammar tells you if a sentence is correct. Tone tells you if a sentence is kind. A learner might say, "Close the door." This is correct, but in many situations it can sound harsh. A gentler version, "Would you mind closing the door?" Or, "Could you close the door, please?" Notice how English speakers often add a small cushion before a request or a disagreement. "I get what you're saying, but..." That makes sense, although... Fair point, but here's the thing. These cushions are not weakness. They are social skill built into language. When you notice them, your English will not just be correct, it will feel warm. Here is a method you can start today. Call it the single line method. Every day, choose exactly one sentence from something you watch, read, or hear. Only one, not 10, just one. Write it in a notebook. Underline the reusable frame inside it. Change one part of the sentence to make it your own. Say your new sentence out loud 3 times. That's it. That is the whole method. It looks small. It looks almost too simple to matter. But that is exactly the point. Now let's shift to a bigger idea, because noticing is really just one example of something larger. Small, repeated actions beat big, occasional ones. Most people want fast results. They study for 5 hours on Sunday, then nothing for the rest of the week. They feel proud on Sunday night, then frustrated a month later when nothing has changed. The problem was never effort. The problem was rhythm. A small action, repeated daily, builds a kind of quiet momentum that a single burst of effort never can. Think of a river carving a canyon. No single drop of water did that work. It was the same motion, repeated for years, that slowly reshaped solid stone. Your brain works in a similar way. One sentence a day feels like nothing. But 30 days later, you have 30 tools in your pocket and a mind trained to search for more. In the first week, nothing will feel different. That is completely normal. Do not judge the method this early. By the second week, you will start noticing things you never noticed before, without even trying. You will catch yourself thinking, "Oh, that's a nice frame," while watching a show for fun. By the first month, your speaking will feel less like translation and more like reaching into a toolbox. You will not be building sentences from scratch anymore. You will be pulling out frames you already own. This is the real shift. Not from not knowing to knowing everything, but from translating to reaching. That shift changes how confident you feel every time you open your mouth. So here is the idea to carry with you. Stop trying to catch everything. Catch one useful thing every single day. Notice the frame, notice the small word, notice the tone, write it down, bend it into your own sentence. Say it out loud. Small, yes, but small done daily becomes something large. That is the art of noticing. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.